I experienced premature ejaculation for 5 years. And I remember how years ago there was a period of my life when I literally thought, I think I'm gay or homosexual because, to be honest, I don't feel that attraction for women anymore. It's not that I felt it for men, but I just couldn't see myself having sex again. I felt like I was castrated, like I wasn't able to use my dick at all. My sex drive was totally non-existent. But today, this story is completely different. I feel like a fucking man and my sex drive is all the time to the sky. I just feel like a healthy male full of life and joy. I want to help you to achieve the same. My name is Jesus Noya and I help men to last longer in bed, become sexually dominant and be more attractive. All this while avoiding the deadly mistakes that I made through my sex life. This comes from my medical background of being a medicine student and 5 years of struggling with things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, and non-existent sexual confidence. Today I want to share with you the things that I did to triple my sex drive. That way I can avoid you feeling like an androgynous species of human like I used to do before. And that would also help you to have sex like an animal, increase your sexual confidence, and have a more loving and passionate relationship. To be in contact with me, the top link in the description is my Instagram. Go and click that right now. There's 3 main things that I did to potentiate my sex drive to the roof. But first of all, let's look at this. Look at the 2 guys in the screen, right? They both have actually the same sexual energy. Probably this one has it a little bit more because I was a teen. But it is just the potential energy. What it actually matters is what you do with it. And this first one was just being like submissive and quiet and shy. You can see it very clearly, right? This other one is a totally different story. Being loud and social and active, like always in movement and being dominant. When I transitioned from this to this, that's when I started to feel my sex drive like a night and day difference. When I was younger, I was wasting my potential energy and making the baseline lower for that with bad habits that were just fucking up my libido. You know, things like porn, masturbation, sedentarism, a mostly plant-based diet, being socially isolated, but the most important, the identity that I had because of all these habits was that I was a quiet and shy boy. I live and felt like a soft boy all the time, and because of that I was having the sex drive of a soft boy. But when I started my transformation, that's when things started to change. I realized that in order to achieve the things that I wanted in life, I needed to take control of basically everything. I started to take decisions for myself, to talk when I felt that I needed to share my thoughts without fear. The concept of dominance was the first thing that helped me to elevate my sex drive. And that's what dominance means. It's actually about taking control and dominating your life. It's not about like being an asshole and a manipulator as a lot of people think. But as I wanted to be more dominant in my life, with this mindset, my attitude and my habits started to change. And that was with my personal life, but I realized that this was actually affecting my relationship with women. I went from feeling and acting like a submissive sim, like almost always waiting for approval, to a confident, charming and dominant young man. And feeling and acting like this is absolutely incredible, especially around women, because when you know that you have the control, when you know that you're taking the lead, it makes you even feel hard in that specific moment because you know that you are the one making everything happen. The sex potential and energy that I have now with this identity of a dominant, charming man and the habits that come from this is now just been serving me all the time. Because for example, the more that I dominate in my life and I achieve goals, it's like the more comfortable and capable I feel about dominating women, and that makes my sex drive even higher. And because my sex drive is high, I feel more pulled to engage in interactions with women, and this cycle just repeats and repeats over and over again. I feel like a fucking man full of energy all the time. So this is one of the pillars that changed my sex drive completely. Going from the position from a submissive soft boy to a dominant man. And sometimes people out there in the internet think that that's kind of cringe for some reason, but it's because they associate it with bad things, as I mentioned before. And it's not related with that at all. I mean, by being dominant, it's like you feel alive, like vibrant, it's like you want to just take action in your life. And I feel great feeling like this. I would never change it. The second thing that I did was changing my mental state, and I realized that this was a factor when I watched a movie called Lolita years ago. That movie was traumatizing for me. I remember literally finishing up the movie and wanting to like cut my dick instantly. If you ever watched it, you know why. It's not like it was very graphic like a horror movie, but let's just say that it was a very uncomfortable and morally wrong topic. After that movie, I felt like I hated myself just for being a man, and I felt a lot of shame and guilt when just thinking about sex. And this lasted for like weeks. Nothing else changed in my environment, everything was just in my mind. That's when I realized that just my inner mental state was actually reflecting on the outside. Because it's very simple. I mean, if you fill your mind with intrusive thoughts, with shame and anxiety, you're gonna feel full of shame and anxiety all the time. And that's what I was doing, but I didn't realize how. By engaging in like watching movies, series, series, getting into conversation or by social media, I was receiving an input that unconsciously was shaping my mental state for a lower sex drive or even feeling some repulsion to sex or my interaction with women. With the movie Lolita, it was more of an extreme example, and that's when I could see very clear how the impact of the things that I was consuming was having on my mind. But in general, all the things that I was consuming was shaping my way of thinking. Things that like having a high sex drive is something weird or something to be ashamed for. All that goes into your head and affects your mental state. Along with this, the person that you're spending your time with also plays a huge role, especially when it is your relationship. If you are with someone that, for example, doesn't vibe with that masculine and very sexual version of you, you're gonna start to mentally try to suppress your libido, your sex drive, and it's gonna happen either by her pushing you to do that or by you just trying to make her feel like comfortable. In one of my past relationships, for example, I was with a person that didn't like the version of myself that was sexually active, right? And it's not 100% her fault because I committed a bunch of mistakes during the relationship, but as she didn't like the dominant sexual version of me, I was always suppressing that part and I was feeling awful unconsciously. That's why we ended up breaking up. In general, I was thinking that girls didn't like those traits, you know, like a man being sexual and masculine. I thought those things were cringe, and as that was my mindset and my mental state, anytime that my sex drive would come up, I just tried to put it down as soon as possible. Now when I look back, it makes sense of why I was feeling like trash. I understand now that being sexy, attractive and dominant is actually something that is very attractive for girls. And the girls that I speak with, guess what? They actually like that. They like the fact that I'm full of energy, that I have a high sex drive, that I'm dominant, that I speak like this. And that positive reinforcement is huge. They like more the animal sex drive version of me. Being in this mental state and knowing that it's something great, I can let my sexual energy flow like freely, and I feel it. I can literally feel physically in my whole body how this new mindset has changed my life. And even if a lot of people think that this is wishy-washy kind of stuff, the mental state plays a huge role. In the same way that that movie just lowered down my sex drive, by me having a healthy mental state, it's just going up and it's high as fuck. And now reaching to the third thing, this is getting to the professional level. The best part is that this is something that you can implement today. Listen, if you've been experiencing low sex drive, it could be either physiological or psychological. With the psychological part, the two things that I just talked about are going to help you a lot by taking care of your mental state or by bringing more dominance to your life. But for the physical part, there's a major reason for you to feel like this, as almost everything that can make you feel sick, like for example 90% of diseases comes from the metabolic syndrome. All that comes only from the diet. Low libido and low sex drive is usually a symptom of something that is causing it, and that's basically why you're eating. And to be honest, it's not difficult to identify. Most of normal people food, if you want to call like that, is also chemical castrating food. Cereals, for example, were literally made to suppress sexual urges, and the same happen with a vegan, vegetarian and plant-based diet. A bunch of these foods that we think that they're healthy, they're literally made to suppress your sex drive. There's a whole story behind that. If you don't believe me, you can go and look it up yourself, but in general, this is what's happening. Also, it's important to understand that basically every plant-based food that we got used to eat, having them a chemical defense that will always screw up your metabolism in some way. They will affect your hormonal balance, your testosterone. A lot of people always focus on high processed foods, and yes, they have the same effects, but the same happens with the plants. You can see that in vegans, they don't look like sexual people. With a diet like this, your sex drive will be destroyed, if not now, over time, and it will happen sooner than later, believe me. Because that's what happened to me. Having a very bad nutrition fucked up my health. First I went through a period of starvation and undernourishment when I used to live in Venezuela. And then when I started to live in the next country, I went through this healthy diet that was mainly oats and fruits and vegetables. And if I had protein, it was like lean protein and that kind of stuff. I ate like that because I thought that that was the right thing to do and that was beneficial for my health. The surprising thing is that I got fatty liver at some point when I wasn't eating fat at all because fat was bad. Right? All these things was happening because my hormones were screwed. I wasn't eating healthy. That wasn't a healthy diet. It wasn't until I started to eat a proper human diet that things changed. Absolutely. And when you talk about a proper human diet, I'm talking about a carnivore diet. Since I got rid of plants and all the weird stuff that people think that is normal to eat, and I started to only eat meat, man, believe me, this is the best quality sex and the higher erections I ever had in my life. And not only that, my skin, my teeth, my hair, my brain, my focus, my health, everything started to improve. I just feel like a different breed of human being, a different man, added to all the things that I was already doing. For all the things that I just spoke about, this is probably the most important important one, because with your diet, your psychological part is actually affected as well. It changes your mind. You now feel full of energy, like powerful and shining and full of life. And I know that this may sound like crazy for some people, or what's that of only eating meat, or like I'm exaggerating, right? But this is actually how we're supposed to eat and live. This is actually how we're supposed to feel. We're supposed to have crazy high libido, to make love constantly. We are sexual creatures. We're supposed to feel like that. If you only do this, man, I 100% guarantee that you will never be the same person. This will change everything. If you haven't ever tried the carnivore diet, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, man, literally start today, for real. It's totally worth it. It will change your life forever, because it did for me. All these practices that I just talked about, they changed my life, and I'm grateful for all of them. This is not only the healthiest, energetic and vibrant that I have ever felt, but it's also the happiest that I ever been. Being able to have a fulfilling and passionate sex life is absolutely beautiful and something that is worth pursuing. Never give up on that. Again, man, if you want to change your sex life forever, go and click the top link in the description to be in contact with me. But besides that, I really hope this helps you. I'll see you later.